Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Philip. I'm a pricing consultant, and that means I tell people what they need to know so their price can grow. This is my first attempt at a live Q&A. I hope each one of you got me at least one question, and we're only asking and answering in English. Please keep your questions relevant and post them in the chat. That would be it. Just one thought before we begin. I started doing this because I believe that this would be a much better world if experts got paid well. So basically, thank you for making it easier to do exactly that. Now I'm going to start with a classic question that I got many times. The classic question is how do I talk about quality, right? Because our price is oftentimes dependent on how our clients see quality, and the straight question is that's tough, because quality is one of the most broadly defined concepts that I have ever heard in any kind of marketing or sales context. Everybody defines quality in their own way, and everybody thinks when they say quality, everybody else thinks the same way, and almost nobody does. Especially, I think we are all here based upon expert services, and this is usually what I talk about. And in expert services, there's two major components of quality. One is the service that you provide and important features of it, and the other is the way that you do it. So if you do great work as a designer, or as a consultant, but you don't answer your emails, people are going to say, oh, this person doesn't have a really good quality. They mean you don't have, I don't know, very good work ethic or something. But they're going to say quality, usually. Also, maybe your Zoom background doesn't look so well. Maybe you don't have a web page that looks professional. That it's all kinds of things can affect how people perceive your quality, and the let's say the stability of your price in a way that has nothing to do with how you do your actual work, right? Especially in expert services which don't have something that they can see in advance. What they first have to hire you and then experience how you do your job, so they will use anything and everything around the way that you do your business to jump to conclusions about quality. Like the late Terry Pratchett said, jumping to conclusions is the mankind's greatest sport, most favorite one. Yeah. Okay, I'm planning to offer 3 different service packages. How do I price them? And that is, how differently should I price them? Okay, great question, Maya. Thank you. So when we make more than one offer, that's always a good idea. But it's what people have the instinct to do is to make the first one the basic one, then the second one more of the same, and the third one even more of the same with bells on. And that way you basically did only one offer. If they can easily scale, say, aha, okay, so this is what you do for 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours. When that's the case, it's easy for them to basically just take, I'll take the minimum. Also, you don't sometimes the number of hours spent with you is not a good thing. You can say we can do this service for 4 hours, 8 hours, and 12 hours, and they don't know much about what you do usually when you're an expert service provider. So they will very often just envision, well, I guess basic is good enough for what I do. Maybe it's not. But they would have the confidence that you would say so, that you wouldn't offer something that is not good enough for them. So if you offered the minimum one, why not take the minimum one, right? So now I answered what not to do. Let's focus on what to do. I would phrase it this way. I would make the middle one the normal one, let's say. So what were you planning to do anyway? You do that. And that requires some level of engagement. And then do the lower one, which requires even less of you than you would usually offer. So if the normal one is I work with you for 4 hours, the lesser one is I give you templates and you do it all by yourself. I give you templates and an hour or half an hour, 45 minutes talking about these templates. Everything clear? Okay, go do it. I can even offer to look what you have done and comment it, but I'm not going to do that for you. And the lower offer can be twice or 3 times or even 5 times smaller than the middle one, because it requires very little of you, right? You make the template once, you put it on your web page, and you say, okay, so you can download the template for free. If you want, you can have 45 minutes of my consultation for, I don't know, this much money. That's a level of service that is going to suffice for some people. There's no reason to overcharge them on something that they don't need. Most people will say, no, if I wanted to do that myself, I would have tried to do that myself. I want you to do it. Okay. So, but it's a good offer. It's a good offer. And even now with only 2 offers, if somebody tries to stomp you on your price and say, this is too much, what do you mean? Why does this cost too much? You can say, I already offered you the cheaper one. So my work costs this much. If you just want a template, no problem at all. You already have the offer in mail. So it's a way of resisting pressure on your price. And then for the third one, when you include the third one, the third one doesn't have to be materially much different from the second one, but it has to feel differently. So it has to feel like the customer is treating themselves or just letting it all. So letting it all in your hands, just forgetting about it, just going away and thinking about something else, and everything will be done, right? It can include guarantees. It can include some special features, meeting you in person, having the right to message you for the next 3 months of implementation whenever they want. So it has to feel completely different. But it can also be as much as 5 or 10 times as expensive as the middle one. Yes, it depends on what you do. But so it has to be 3 completely different levels of service. So the lowest one is, here's a template, now go do it. And it's really the cheapest one. The middle one is basically what you would normally do, and the high one is you are not just going to get what you want. You are also going to feel very special. And for various reasons, some people will be drawn to that. Most people won't, but that doesn't matter. Compared to that price, your middle price will look much more reasonable. Okay, have I answered the question? Okay, how do I talk about my value? How do I define my value? Because, well, value is so briefly is I think a good answer to that question. You don't have all day to talk about your value. People, when you talk about your value, you have to understand that it doesn't really matter what you think it is. It matters what the customer thinks it is. When they look on what you're offering, they have to get it. Where do they fit in that conversation? Where do they fit within that description of value? So if you say, I'm going to do this service for you, it's a great service, it is well executed, it has all of the bells and whistles, and you talk about, let's say, within your language, clients can get lost or bored before you get to the point of why is that relevant to them. So it's the famous what's in it for me, right? It's like coming to get hired. So talk about the job, and they ask you the infamous question, why should I hire you? And say, I have to pay my bills. It's technically an answer, but it's not the answer they were looking for. They wanted to know what's in it for them. What would they get? So when you talk about your value, try to do it in a way that your target audience recognizes themselves. They say, oh, I know that problem. So before you even meet them, you should have picture in your head that talks about that shows you what problems are they facing, why are they actually here, what do they actually need. And when you talk about your value, you should talk about it from their perspective as much as you can. That means skimping on talk about techniques, technology, even phases. So things that you know best. You should talk more about the effects, the problems that diminish because of it, how long it lasts, how so the implementation, and the period that lets the within the problem is solved. So many problems that you solve will pop again, right? It depends on what you do. But this is the way that you talk about your value. So briefly and from their perspective, basically. Within many expert communities, there's this sense of my clients don't understand me. Our clients don't understand us. Our clients don't know what they're talking about, and that's all true. But what I'm answering to a common question of what do I do if my client has no idea what he wants or needs? This is typical for many kinds of expert work, but mostly it's not the client's fault, it's ours. Many years ago, I ordered some change of design on a box that I was producing, my first company. And I asked the designer to make block letters, but I said big letters because I was thinking about something else, and the letters but big. And he did what I literally asked. He changed the font. And when I got it back, I said, no, I meant, block letters. He said, oh, you wanted the Versali. Why didn't you say so? Well, because I never heard that expression before, of course. I mean, he was completely right. That's not what it's called. But as a client, I don't have to know what it's called. You have to explain or ask or do your very best to try to understand what I actually want and what I actually need. And it turned out that I didn't really need the reason why I wanted block letters was completely non-valid, but I didn't know that. I had an instinct that there should be there, and I wasn't really invested in having them. I just felt like it, right? So even if you really, if you do something that your clients really need, it's not upon them to understand what you do. So even if I had not just a protection from the coronavirus, if I had medicine for it and went into a foreign country and started trying to sell it in my own language, and nobody paid any attention to me, I would have no right to be angry at them. But you people need this. Yes. So learn to talk to us. Your clients will not learn to talk to you. You have to learn to talk to them. So how do you explain raising prices to your current clients? Do we even need to explain? Yes. When you need to raise your prices to your current clients, especially ones that you started long ago, and when you started you had low prices because you said to yourself or to them, I don't have that much experience, let's start this slow. That's all great, but eventually that is no longer valid. And then you have to communicate and take things slow. You have to say, okay, so I'm raising my prices toward other clients. I know we have our arrangements, but it soon will not be even profitable for me to work with you, and nobody likes that, right? So let's say it like this: I will keep our price for another month or two, and then you will still have a special rate, but a diminishing one. So let's keep this until of your rate until of this month. Next month, you will not have a 30% higher price like everybody else. You will have a 10% higher price than 20, and then you will join everybody else. This is one way. So step by step, you still offer them better terms, and you don't what you definitely don't do is just bill them for a higher amount. That's the most surefire way to lose a client. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes to feel that they were taken for a ride, even if that's not really the amount of a significant amount of money for them. Another technique would be to say, so we can have this price until the end of some period, and then from then on you will have a new price. Or I had a client once who had who had a very small retainer. He paid me on a monthly basis, and I said, okay, and I like that. I like that engagement. So I said, as long as you pay me on retainer, your price is still the old one. But it was going to end sooner or later anyway. And when you end it, of course, you can come back whenever you want. You're always welcome, but you will also pay just like everybody else. So that also works depending on engagement. And your second question was, do we even need to explain? It's always good. It's always good to explain. With price raises and with discounts as well, people feel much better if they don't know why. Even if that even if that reason doesn't really make much sense in itself. So you can say, I don't know, these are tough times, I have to raise my price. It's not really much of an argument, but it's a common one, and everybody is doing it, and nobody will look at twice and say, oh, this is very strange, what do you mean? Everybody will know what you're talking about. So there's no you should explain, but not over explain. You don't have to show them, you see my cost of this went up, and then with the boat that's stuck, no, look, okay, it's tough times. This is I'm going to just broaden it a little bit, Maya. With discounts as well, everybody who knows me knows I don't like discounts as a policy, and that I always say that a discount policy is not a pricing policy, it's a crater where the pricing policy should have been. But if you do give discounts, absolutely supply the client with reasons why are you doing that. Firstly, clients will appreciate those kinds of discounts more, because a discount without the reason just feels that you puffed up your price for just to feel better, and then immediately slashed it. It doesn't feel like a discount at all. So if you don't give a reason for a discount, what you will often experience is people asking for more discounts, because you obviously slash your price willy-nilly. So, no harm in asking, right? And if you do give a discount, even a deep one, you can cancel it later. This is one of the ways of stealthily, basically, raising your price, especially when you're beginning. This is maybe going to be the most help to let's say, Emmanuel here. So you can give a discount, even a very deep one, like 70%. I did that with my first company. I gave a big company 70% discount because they don't know us yet, and that it's a big risk for them, and I get it. And we did the engagement. We actually got more money that way, even for the first engagement, because he already got such a big discount proposed by me that he couldn't ask for more discounts. So if I just said this is going to be 6,000, he could have pushed me to make it for 4. But I said, no. This is 18,000, but you're only going to pay 6. And he said, oh, yeah, fine, great. He sold it to his boss like, look at the discount that I got. He didn't push for it, he just got it. So we finished the first one, the first engagement, and for the second engagement, we almost got the basically the same workload. And then I asked for 12,000, and the guy said, how is that double the price? It's the same workload. I said, it's not double the price. It's the same price. You just don't get so much discount. I mean, you got the huge discount last time because you had no experience with us. Now you have some experience with us, so there's no reason to give you such a huge discount. And he couldn't really wriggle himself out of that. So we got the 12,000, and the third time it was the full 80,000. Because by then they had full experience with us, 2 well-done projects delivered in time, so they couldn't really say anything, really. It was just fair deal to give us the 18,000. And the point is that if I didn't express that as a discount, if I just said, okay, I should charge this 18,000, but I'm going to charge it 6 because I'm still beginning, blah blah blah. But I didn't put it on the invoice, and I didn't clearly say this is the reason for my discount. I would have never have gotten 12, let alone 18 the third time. Simply never, because they would have felt ripped off. And they the same guy would have no room to explain that to his boss. He would turn out to be completely incompetent, and he would never do that. He would never agree to that, basically. Anyway, that's the reason why reasons for discounts and for price raising are good for psychology. Okay, so how often can you raise your prices? Not too often. So many times people get surprised on how little pushback they get when they're an expert. You as long as people view you as completely interchangeable with many of your other colleagues, rightly or not, but as long as you're viewed as interchangeable, you basically can't get a higher price. But people rarely test that. They're afraid to test that. And if they do test that and they raise their price 20% and nothing happens, they are completely surprised. Nothing happens. I recently worked with a Canadian client, and most of her clients were from the United States. And I suggested, why don't she just exchanges her Canadian dollar prices into US dollar prices, which is 24% higher. And what happened is that nobody noticed. Not one client, many of whom pay per month, they just kept on paying, and nobody said anything, and nobody noticed at all. So 25%, 24. That's, yeah. The reason was that she was undervalued. She was underpaid, basically. And if you're ready to give 500 and somebody asked for 200 and then they ask for 250, you would say, yeah, fine. It doesn't matter. Yeah, people would notice the switch from kunas to euros. Most probably, yes. But getting back to the question that you asked, when people experience that, oh, I got 20%, 24%, and nobody noticed, maybe I can do it again. And so no, not immediately, but in 2 months, 3 months, and once they do that, many people leave. Even if the price, the raising of the price was like 6% or 10%, not 20 to 25. And then they say, why? What happened? What's the difference? The difference is, if a price hike happens once in a while, that means once in 2 years, maybe 3. Okay, cost of doing business goes up. There's the corona crisis. There's this, there's that. Everybody understands. But it's by in itself, it doesn't make a precedent of much. But if you make 2 price hikes in a year, even if they're not really big, or one of them is not really big, you're setting a precedent. You are basically communicating, I'm on a roll here. I'm going to raise my prices. Who knows how much? And if you said yes once, implicitly or explicitly, doesn't matter. Okay. If you said it every time, well, and with 2 times you have every time that I raise my price, you say yes, I'm going to keep doing that. And they don't want to deal with that. And either you have no good reason to do that, or you do have good reasons to do that, but you should have known that the first time that you raised your price. So you raise your price 20%, and then 3 months after that 4%, and people leave. If you would have raised that 25% at the beginning, nobody would leave. So it's about the precedent. It's about, if you can raise your price whenever you want, and they don't respond, that means that they showed you that they really need you, and they will follow you even if you don't, even if you constantly raise your price. And that's not a good feeling. Nobody likes to feel like that. Even if they really do need you, they don't want to be in that position, and they will pay you for a few more months, but they will try to find some way to get a partner, to get a consultant, to get an expert that is that has a more healthy, basically, relationship with them. So that's all, even without any words said, right? Sometimes you just raise your price and people pay it. But so to give you a straight answer, once every few years is okay. And this is why it's very crucial to know what you're doing while you're doing it. It is somewhat better when you don't have long-term clients, or you have few long-term clients. And all the things that I said is basically true for long-term clients. If you have many short-term clients, like I work with most people for 2 months, and then I work with somebody else, and I have so I work with many of them in parallel, and I have for around 30 to 50 clients a year. It's easier in that format to experiment with your price. Sometimes you think that some client is going to be exceptionally tough, so you try out a higher price and see if it will stick. If it doesn't, well, it would going to be a tough client anyway, right? So you can experiment with that, and in that format, especially if you don't publish your price, which has some drawbacks but also some pros, you can experiment the whole time, but you're not effectively raising your price to the same client, so it doesn't really affect clients in the same way. So to one client you say there is going to be, I don't know, 3,000. To the next you say 3,200. To the next you say 3,500. You just keep on going, right? The question is, how do you know when to stop? Yeah. Yeah. You know, you know when to stop, when about 20% of your price negotiations stop because they can't afford you, or they won't afford you. But 20%, not zero, right? Some people freeze the first time somebody says, I can't afford you. Some people can't afford you. That's okay. Not all of the people who need you are in the right position to make good use of your quality, and that's okay. If you do charity, then do charity. So don't charge anything. You find somebody who really needs your help, and you work with them for free. But if you're charging, then you charge. Basically, that prevents you going into the middle mode of not really being profitable, and then not really giving them your full attention. It's bad. Basically, you want your clients to be profitable, because then when your profitable client calls you, you will be happy to answer your phone, right? If you have a client that's not profitable, then you're just, this guy again. And that's overall bad for your business. And yeah, so when about 20%, when about 20% of the client calls end with your price is too high, you know that you're bobbing close to the surface, please. Should I put prices of my services on my website? That's going to be one big it depends from me. Mostly I would so if we're talking within the context of expert services, I would advise against it mostly. You're not selling potatoes. Not all clients are going to be the same. Not all clients are therefore going to have the same value. I think you can put a range, or you can put the magical word from, right? So my prices go from this to that. But if you can avoid it, and experts usually can, simply because people mostly understand that it's not repetitive work, I would definitely advise against it.
Everything changes.